Now for a little decoration. I cut a strip of fabric. I had a little bit more left over from this shoulder assembly. It was 2.5 inches wide. I turned the edges over and pressed them 1/4 of an inch. Then, like we did on the purse itself, we made some dog ears. We just folded over each corner to the middle and pressed that really well. I even used a little bit of starch. I'd like to match that, bringing it about 3/4 of an inch down from that chevron point. Maybe a little closer. There we go. And then we'll put it in front of us, and we'll continue to put some pins all the way down. And I suggest before you sew this that you measure from here to here, the edge to this strap, this decorative strap, and make sure that it matches on the other side. I think we're off by a little bit, so I'm going to move it over just a little bit, and move this over just a little bit. There we go. And when we get down to the bottom, remember I left an opening at the bottom here when I was stitching around the perimeter. I did that so that I could insert the edge of this fabric. So I'm cutting it just about 1 inch to a little more. It's up to you. And fold it, just tuck it up underneath there. Now, that sounds easier to say than it is actually to do it, but you get my drift. You want to make that match as well as you can. This will be seen, and let me just get another pin. So, I'm going to come down about a full inch and start my stitching. I'm going to stitch right down the center. I'm going to lengthen the stitch also. A lengthened stitch at this point will keep everything from puckering. If you were walking in deep sand, you wouldn't take little tiny steps. You might fall. But if you take larger steps, there's more balance, less problem. So we're lengthening the stitch because, like deep sand, we're going through some deep layers here. Yes, I'm just eyeballing this. But you could draw a line with a piece of white chalk as a guide if you wanted to. And a little tack stitch there will do the job. There we go. And there's a reason to keep this flap open, because we're going to put the loop underneath that accent fabric. So I'd like you to continue to sew as close to the edge as you can. And we'll continue on with the decoration. So far, this is what our purse is looking like. It's going to be fun looking, huh? Now, let's install that loop. This is a ponytail elastic band. I'm just reaching towards the center of that band with this middle piece on the side, and I've got some crochet cord here. I'm just going to wrap it around until, let's give myself a little shorter ends to play with here. Wouldn't it be fun sometimes to have a third hand? I mean, really. There we go. Oh. And now that we have that secured, let's just cut away the excess. Kind of looks like a fish, doesn't it? Going to install the loop right underneath that chevron shape. The accent fabric is going to cover it really, really well. I'm going to put a pin there. Now suit yourself. You could take a needle and thread and just put a little basting thread there if you like. Or you could be brave and just hold it in position. I'm going to use the pin for a moment. Okay, there we go. There's the little pouch, and it folds over. My stitch length is already lengthened. I'm going to start about 3 inches down from the key ring on the right hand side. And remember that opening we had on the side? We're going to close it now. This top stitching will take care of business with that. Yes, you'll want to scoot that loop out of the way. Whoa! Get that, keep that O-ring out of your thoroughfare there. Okay. And now we're ready to sew those side seams. So here's the trick with the side seams. Always match up to the very edge. And if it's a little bulky and pouches out like that, hey, it's a pouch. Take advantage of that. This jeans material we're using is kind of stretchy, so it can do this. It can kind of not end up being exactly same distance across, so use that little bulk, that little pouchiness there, that little extra give. Use it to your advantage.